Alright, what's up, YouTube? It's Krod here. I'm back with another good boxing video for those of you that are watching me. Let's get right to it, man. This is a special video dedicated to two fighters that I just want to sum up in a good video before I head on off to bed. Let's get right to it, man. This is a message to Vasily Lomachenko and Terence Bud Crawford. I will start with Vasily Lomachenko. Dear Lomachenko, I do not hate you as a fighter. I do think you have some value in your boxing career. If I would think that you've had this great mindset and this great boxing talent that many would call you, the greatest since Muhammad Ali, which that doesn't make any sense, but just to imply the notion that you are the next coming of a Ali-like figure, I would like to know, when have you ever fought the best? I do not hate on your skills. I think you do have skills. I am a southpaw fighter, and I do look at your skills as a primary example of what you do. And I do kind of implement that into my fight style because I do believe that, stylistically, I'm a passive counterpuncher southpaw, which I use aggressive pressure if I need to, but you have, that type of skill set that you can facilitate onto people that are faster than you, but that could be a good weaponized mechanism that you could do to somebody that isn't as timely fashion as you. So that is my message to Lomachenko. I really want you to just be a real fighter and just fight Devin Haney. Fight all these contemporaries that you say that you can beat, and they're avoiding you. Blah blah blah. When you're clearly avoiding them, and I like. I just wish I pray to the boxing gods that you, Vasily Lomachenko, could have the confidence to just man up for the sake of your life and just fight these guys. I understand that you've lost in the past and you've lost now, but that doesn't matter. I've lost before too in high school wrestling, but I didn't cry when I go back home. I just said to myself, you know what, I'm gonna get better because I know that I could beat these guys in a rematch, but I'm never going to go anywhere in my life until I work harder to get to it. Anybody can become a coder. Not everyone's built for coding, but anybody can become a coder. It's possible if you're not built for the knowledge to become a computer programmer, but being a programmer could be naturally good for some people, but then for some other people they're not naturally built for it. So there is a inequality gap of people that aren't interested in it, and then there's people like me that are interested in it, but I have to get better with my skills, which I think I'm naturally accustomed to it, and I know what I'm getting myself into. But at the end of the day, my heart brings me back to the coding, brings me back to IT, brings me to a path that I want to pursue in video games and all these things that I want to share onto this channel and to make people happy and to one day become a huge inspiration for younger audiences that look at me one day. But when we switch this over to boxing, it should be the same principle. If I'm in your shoes, Lomachenko, I should have been entered into the pro game a lot earlier instead of coming in at 26 years old and not having too much of a huge impact with 14, if not 16 fights altogether. But either way, it's just really sad because it's Lomachenko, I know that you're probably watching me or anybody else that you do watch, but I'm not going to just shut up and just listen to what you say. I'm here as much as I want to be here, and I'm going to criticize you like anyone else in alternative media that's going to come out and say what they're going to say against you. See, now, for those of you that are fans of Lomachenko, look, I don't know any of you guys. I don't want to get to know you. I think all of you are, if not most of you, are dipshits. But at the end of the day, if you're going to support your fighter and politically make excuses for him, at least tell your fighter to back up his words when he says these fighters are avoiding him, when he's clearly doing the same thing what you guys are fighting up against to defend for your own fighter. Because if you're going to speak for your fighter, you best just tell your fighter to, just be real about their words that they back up, and they should start fighting their contemporaries. Because it seems like that Lomachenko, he has some mentally ill problems of not keeping his mouth shut when he doesn't know when to, be a man of his word. So I just think that for Lomachenko, if he is willing to prove his worth as a boxer, I think he needs to do that so that way he can make himself a better fighter at the end of the day, if he's willing to go back to the title reign of becoming a champion once again. But that's pretty much my message to Vasily Lomachenko. Please fight the best. Everybody wants you to see if you're actually with the shits or not. But either way, also, let me just add one more thing. Fight Devin Haney, fight Shakur Stevenson, get a rematch in with Tio if you can, and, stop avoiding these tougher competition. Alright, that's it for that. So for the second one is Terence Bud Crawford. I don't have any hate against Terence Crawford. I really do think you are a great, tremendous fighter. You're like a shadow of Marvin Hagler in a way, if not Tommy Hearns. But I will say that Terence Crawford is by far the most dangerous fighter in boxing. Next to Errol Spence, which I think Errol Spence could be more dangerous than Terence Crawford. But that could be debated between them if they ever fight. But the issue that I have with you, Terence Crawford, is mainly because of your ego. I think you're a great person. I would like to beat you one day. Shout out to Jamel Herring. He's a very good, person to chat with. And I understand that Jamel is very close to you, Terence. But I just think that if I had known you and you were to say all the things that you say on the media and then come back to me and say that, you're not really, true with what you're saying on TV, then I would have to criticize you on that because I want to see you succeed, and I don't want you to be, making up all these dramatic excuses to not fight Errol Spence or whoever is at the top and make it seem like that you're avoiding them. I wanna see you just go out there and just give it your best shot. And I think Terence Crawford, he knows that he's a damn good fighter, but I think Terence Crawford's going the route of Canelo Alvarez, where he's not taking the bigger risk, and he doesn't want to go after, let the bigger shark that are more violent, that could possibly bite him more off of his, moral confidence after if he were to lose to like a guy like Errol Spence. But I just don't think like that would be like the mindset of Terence Crawford. If I'm in his position, if I lose to a guy like Errol Spence, but knowing that, I can still have like a good, resurgence of my career before I hang it up past, 35 years old. But I just don't think Crawford is really doing his thing. So I think what Crawford needs to do to save his career is to just really start fighting, the bigger names, and, just please stop lying to the fans, because, he said he says one thing that, he doesn't want to, fight Errol Spence anymore, but then Errol Spence says that he still wants to fight Crawford, but yet Crawford is making up all these dumb, ridiculous excuses to say why Errol Spence is, basically above him. But yet, you show up to Errol Spence's last fight and then you try to say like, you're not focused on Errol Spence, but yet, you guys are still whooping everybody's ass in the, division, which I don't think that's true because you got Sean Porter that could be forcing a mandatory against you, and if you're not going to take that mandatory, then you're not really credible at 147 because people are going to look at you different for trying to avoid Sean Porter at at 147 when you're not making any impacts in it. So it would make your name and your brand go down because people are not going to believe in you anymore in fighting contemporaries, and they're probably going to look at your career as an absolute joke and just make fun of you and tarnish you forever. But I just think Terence Crawford, if you're listening, just please take this, take the 60-40 or whatever deal that Errol Spence gives you, and just beat him up, dude. I understand you want more money, but I think if this fight with Errol Spence sells, which I know it's gonna sell, let's just say if it sells like $150 million, you're still making a shitload of money, even if it was 70-30 or 80-20. And shit, I could just go to my phone and just do a quick, whatchamacallit. Yeah, a quick mathematic calculation. Oh, let's just say the fight was shit. Let's just say the fight was $150 million just between the two of them. And let's just say that the rest of the fights were at least, maybe I would say, $1 million worth of pay. But $150 million, if you just multiply that by 20%, Crawford would get $30 million. But let's just say if Crawford were to fight for 40%, he's still getting $60 million. And Errol Spence would get, hold on. Yeah, 150 million. Give me 1 second. Yeah, Errol Spence would get 90 million. But it's even with that type of chunk amount of money, Crawford is just balling out. So I don't know why Crawford's arguing about why it's not about the money. But it's Crawford's just basically blowing smoke at this point. But I think Crawford, it's time for you to just man up and just take the fight with Errol. Because if you beat him, you're automatically going to be the A side. And you're going to make a shitload more money in the future. So I don't see how you can not make that fight happen and just get it out the way so that way you can sustain more money in the future and you don't have to think about anything else. And I think that would be a good win on Crawford's legacy. If he were to beat a guy like Errol Spence, he'll be a two division undisputed world champion, and he will be the number one pound for pound. So I think if we're ever going to talk about pound for pound again, Crawford needs to beat Errol Spence in order to keep his pound for pound status. So that's pretty much what I have to say. No hard feelings against Terence Crawford. I think the time is now. Crawford's just making up excuses after excuses, and it's really not going to sell when Crawford is going to be asked the $1 million question of why aren't you fighting Errol Spence? You are not making your career better, and you need to stop making these excuses and just fight him. And I think that's where the smoke and mirrors are going to come in, because when pressure busts pipes, those mirrors will start to break too. So that's pretty much what I have to say. Good video overall that I've made for this channel, and I'm hoping that more is coming to the future. So yeah, that's pretty much what I gotta say. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good day. Bye.